birthday party. Music, wine, applause, and a decision so reckless it outlived an empire. On August 29th, Christians remember how a ruler traded his conscience for a cheer. This isn't a spectacle story. It's a mirror. Because the moment you care more about the room's approval than the truth, you've already chosen the ending. If you had been in that banquet hall, would you have shouted, "Stop," or stayed quiet? A lone figure appears on the Jordan's edge, eating wild honey, dressed in rough camel hair. John is not fashionable. He is free. He tells crowds what no one tells them at parties. Turn around. The king is coming. People step into the water because they're hungry for something solid. That voice doesn't flatter. It steadies. Prophets don't sell hope like a product. They call you to become new people who can carry it. Which line from John's preaching hits you harder? Repent or prepare the way? Enter Herod Antipas, tetrarch with a fragile crown and a complicated house. He divorces his wife to marry Herodias, still tied to his half-brother. John names it what it is, unlawful. It's not just romance, it's public rot. Rumors suggest the desert criticism embarrassed the court precisely because it was true. Reports claim Antipas liked listening to John, until truth collided with reputation. Herodias, however, wanted John gone. Do you respect people who confront you, or do you avoid them? They drag John to Machaerus, a stone fortress clinging to cliffs above the Dead Sea. Days blur. Even brave souls ask questions in the dark. From that cell, John sends a message to Jesus. Are you the one, or should we look for another? Courage and doubt share the same room more often than we admit. Jesus doesn't scold him. He answers in actions. The blind see, the poor hear good news. And then he turns to the crowd and says the line history can't forget. No one greater. Does John's question make you think less of him, or more? The banquet begins. Torches glow against polished stone. Guests lean in. This is power on display. A dance turns the room electric. Here's the twist. The Gospels don't name the girl. Josephus later calls her Salome. Herod, swept up in the moment, makes a spectacular oath. Anything you ask. That's not generosity. That's intoxication with his own voice. Honor culture seals the trap. Whatever she requests, he must perform, or look weak. Have you ever promised something too fast just to look impressive? What happened? She walks to her mother. A whisper. She returns with a request that should freeze a king. The head of John the Baptist. The Gospel says Herod is deeply grieved. Reports claim he feared his guests more than God. He orders what he swore he'd deliver. Scholars note this wasn't about a dance so much as a public oath and private spite crossing paths. Rumors suggest Antipas also feared John's influence with the crowds. Both politics and pride play their part. And just like that, a prophet's voice falls quiet. Only it doesn't. It grows. What's the bigger villain here? Lust, pride, or fear of public shame? John's followers come for the body. They lay him in a tomb and go straight to Jesus. What does the teacher do? He withdraws to a deserted place, then multiplies bread for a crowd hungry for more than news. Later, speaking of John, Jesus refuses to reduce him to a headline. Not a reed bending to the breeze, not silk in a palace, but a man unbent by applause or threat. If you measure success by likes, John looks like a failure. If you measure by truth kept under fire, you're looking at a giant. What's one area where you'd rather be faithful than popular? Good Friday draws near. Pilate sends Jesus to Herod. Antipas hopes for a trick, a spectacle, a show trial with flair. Jesus says nothing. That silence is not weakness. It's judgment. The one John announced refuses to decorate a tyrant's party. Tradition reads a line between the scenes. The king who silenced the prophet now stands before the prophet's Lord, and the room is suddenly the one on trial. What speaks louder to you in a conflict, words or silence? Why remember a beheading at all? Because August 29th isn't about gore. It's about moral clarity and the cost of keeping it when the music gets loud. It warns that oaths made for applause will own you. It shows how personal sin turns public whether you want it to or not. And it comforts us that doubt doesn't cancel calling. The desert voice still points the way, even from a tomb. Make room for the king. Which lesson hits home for you? Truth to power? The oath trap? Or courage in doubt? Do we live for the room, or for the one who outlives rooms? John chose. Jesus confirmed it. And the calendar keeps score every August 29th so we don't forget. If a single line here stirred you, drop it in the comments and tell me why. Share this with someone who needs courage today. For daily saint stories told with honesty and heart, subscribe and tap the bell.